Welcome back to Carp Catch TV, and this is what's coming up in this video. Hi guys, you join me here on Shropshire Lakes, and I'm currently here on a week's holiday with the family. The site is in a great location and it has loads on offer to keep us busy. There is also a couple of little lakes to fish. So I've come to the Rud Lake for a morning to chill and to see if I can tempt one or two of the carp out. The lake is 2 acres in size and the carp go up to the mid-20s with rumours of a 30-pounder. I've brought my carp gear with me, but I'm probably a little bit overgunned for this place, to be honest. I've chucked out 2 solid bags, scattered a few freebies, so let's see what happens. But as I'm waiting for a bite, we're going to look back at a few socials that I've been on. We're going to revisit 3 locations. They were all day ticket waters, and we're all booked on to have a good social and a catch up with the lads. First up, we're off to Shropshire to visit the Merrington complex. Let's go. So, welcome to Merrington. There are 10 of us fishing here today, and we've booked on the Hayes Lake as a lake exclusive. I have drew peg 2, so let's get the gear off the van and get this started. Hayes Lake is a 6-acre lake with carp going up to the mid-30s. The lake has 10 swims in total, 4 being singles and 3 being doubles. This is the newest lake on the complex, but the fish are gaining weight and growing fast. As we had booked on as a lake exclusive, bait boats were allowed to be used if wanted. But as the island wasn't a long cast, you didn't really need one. So just as I'd finished getting both of my rods out, Mike was the first person to get into a fish. It was a 16-pound scaly mirror. Not long after, Mike's same rod was off again. This time, Chris was playing the fish. This carp was putting up a much better fight and looked to be a lot heavier. So another mirror was in the net. This one was bigger and weighed 26 pounds. The fish were definitely showing in front of Mike and Chris. They were fishing on 6 and 7, the double peg, and were having a great start to the session. As we approached the afternoon, another alarm buzzed off. This time it was Steve's turn on peg 1. Unfortunately though, the hook pulled and it wasn't to be. The day continued into tea time without any more takes. The wind changed direction and started to get stronger. It was blowing hard directly at us, and as any fisherman knows, fishing in the wind is a right pain in the backside, so we just had to wait it out. Eventually, the wind did calm down, so it was time to fire up the barbecue and enjoy the evening ahead. The night was uneventful for all around the lake, apart from Matty, who caught a small one. As first light is my favourite time of the day to be by the lake, I was up early watching the sunrise on this beautiful morning. I wasn't up long though before I had a message from Matty saying he had one in the net. So I popped round to his peg and helped him with the pictures. Matty was fishing on peg 8 towards the island. A nice fully scaled carp weighing 17 pounds was a great start to the day. As soon as his rod was back on the spot, the line has started again. In the peg next door, Mike was also into his first fish of the day, this time a 13-pound common. Everyone was now starting to wake up and hoping it was their turn to catch. So you joined me on the second morning, and unfortunately still no fish for us over this side of the lake. My rods were very quiet last night. The action seems to be coming from the opposite side of the lake where Mike and Matty have been catching. I think Mike's on 3 now and Matty's on 2. So they seem to be holding up over that side, but they'll be swimming around. I'm sure there's plenty of fish in front of me, I've just not been lucky enough yet to get one. So I'm still very optimistic that the rods are going to go. Just going to get some breakfast on in a minute and then refresh the rods, get them ready for the day ahead, and hopefully we can get one bagged. Well, unfortunately, I had to leave the lake for a few hours to visit my dad, who was unwell. But as I was gone, Mike had a right result, catching a nice 31-pound mirror. Well done, Mike. When I got back to the lake, I went to have a chat with John and James on peg 5 and 6. John said he had just seen a fish crash away from his baited area, so he reeled in one of his rods and put it on the spot. Well, it paid off a treat, as 5 minutes later, he was into a fish. It was a great bit of angling by John and looked to be a really nice fish in the water.
John.
Well, it was to be our last fish of our trip, and we were all hoping it could be a new PB for John.
$27.2.
It sure was. At 27.2, John was about to get a proper soaking.
Thanks, lads. On life.
And that was a great way to end our trip. Unfortunately, I didn't manage to get into any of the fish, but as always, I still had a great time out on the bank. Well, a big well done to John for catching a new PB, and also well done to the other lads who managed to catch, especially Mike. He definitely found where the fish were held up and he did really well. So for my next trip, I met up with Blunder. Me and Blunder have a couple of trips each year. We travel around and try to fish new waters as much as we can. This time we packed the van and travelled up to Lincolnshire to a lake that holds carp up to the high 40s. We had 48 hours booked on and we were hoping a little bit of luck was on our side. Let's check it out. Nuddock Wood is an 8.5 acre lake offering 13 fishable swims. It also offers the holiday angler a choice of 5 luxury cabins. Being a former syndicate water, the lake now operates as open access, giving any angler the chance to try and catch one of these beautiful carp. So we've parked up and had a walk around the lake, and we're the only ones fishing here at the moment. We was first at the gates, but they've not got a lot booked on this weekend. The chalets are full, but the day ticket's only got 4 people on, and I think there's 7 or 8 pegs, and obviously we're the first 2 here. And we spoke to the bailiff, and because we've had a crazy heat wave for the last 2 weeks, he says the fish have been held up in the margins, and they've tried to spawn again, like for the third time, but like they said they've not got a lot in them, so it's, you know, trying to spawn, we're not really spawning, but they've been curled up right at the one end into like the shallows. And he said but they have pushed out into the middle because the last 2 days the weather's cooled down quite a lot, and now it's overcast, and you know, it's so much cooler than it was. So we've picked the 2 central pegs which command the whole of the middle of the lake, and they're close together as well, so it's good for a social. I'm feeling confident. Like the weather, you couldn't ask for more really. It's not raining, but there's a bit of wind on the water, it's overcast, and looks good for a bite, to be fair. Let's see what we can do. With our rods and bivvies set up, we decided to use the bait boat to get the rigs out. For bait, we used a house pellet and a mixture of washed out boilies. The boilies had been soaking in water for the last 24 hours, making them very soft and easy to mulch up. So this is Blunder's peg, and this is called Centre Stage Right. There you go, it commands all that water there, and we have seen quite a lot of fish showing out there in the middle. My peg is next door, so let's go and have a look at it. This is my peg, which is called Centre Stage Left, and if you're after a social, these pegs work really well. Same again, you got the middle of the lake to fish to. I think one of the favourite pegs on the lake is at the end down there. It's called John's Bar, and there have been a couple of fish show in front of it, and the peg is available. But I think going off what I've seen in the middle, there seems to be a lot more action out there. I've put the deeper out, and it's 12 foot clear all over our spots, so we put a bit of bait down there to make that the feature. Right, time to kick back, relax, and see what happens. Well, it was a typical late afternoon bite. Just as the temperature had started to drop, the fish went lower in the water and started to feed.
No place I'd rather, no place I'd rather be, no place I'd rather, no place I'd rather be.
It was proving to be a very hard fighting fish, and took me a while to start to win the battle. Eventually though, the fish surfaced and the bailiff was there to get it in the net. So there you go. First fish of the session. It's not been too long. We've seen the fish boshing most of the afternoon. 28.5 pounds. Great start to the session. Let's stick him back. With the fish safely back in the water, I put the rods back out on the same spots. We were both feeling hungry, so it was time for Blunder to order a kebab. Hello. After a nice bit of dinner, the evening set in. It had been a good day's fishing so far, and we were both hoping to get into some more action throughout the night. Well then, welcome to the second morning. Unfortunately, there was no action last night. Blunder had a couple of liners that kept us awake early doors, but they just dropped off and the rods were quiet. The weather's a little bit different today. The sun's out today, so all that cloud cover that we had yesterday, that's gone. I've seen 1 or 2 shows this morning. I got up quite early and I was expecting to see a lot more shows like yesterday afternoon, but I've only just seen the 1 or 2, so I'll keep my eyes peeled for that. I'm just going to get the rods in now. I'm going to get myself to the show block and get cleaned up, and then come back and have another crack at it. Since we arrived yesterday, another 2 anglers had turned up. 1 fishing to the right of Blunder and 1 fishing a few pegs down from me. With the sun shining and the lake looking calm, it was a very relaxing place to spend some time. With my rods out of the water, I had a walk around to the show block. All the lake is fenced and the main electric gate is always closed, making this one of the most secure fisheries I have ever visited. After getting cleaned up, it was time to cook some breakfast and talk you through some of the rigs that I'm using on this trip. So the rig I'm using couldn't really be simpler. It's literally a lead clip setup. I've got a 2.5 ounce lead, even go up to a 3 ounce lead. You have to use tubing on this water. I had the leaders set up on the 3 rods, but we've had to change them when we got here because they don't like any leaders rubbing against the fish when you're playing them, so you have to put some tubing on. So put some tubing on there, and then we've just got a stiff boom. This one's a Ronnie rig. Small little pop-up, 12 miller. And that's a tidy boom from Gemini. And on the other rods I've got the turbo German rigs from Gemini, and I'm using little pink wafter from Mainline, and I caught the fish on the yellow wafters, which is a peppered peach, and the pink ones are a fruity squid. Well, before you knew it, the day passed by without a bite. I think the change in weather had the carp cruising on top, but we still enjoyed being there, having a nice chill out by the lake. With an unexpected downpour in the night, the weather had yet again changed. This time for the better though, bringing some more cooler weather which made the fish get back on the feed. Blunder's delks ripped off and he was finally into a fish. The carp tried to go behind a bush that was close in, but Blunder managed to guide it away from there. Well, it wasn't one of the monsters he was after, but still nice to go away with something. The guy fishing next to Blunder also caught one at the same time. So our trip had come to an end and it was time to hit the road. But we enjoyed our stay and would be happy to come back to Nuddock Wood. So me and Blunder had a nice trip up Lincolnshire and I would definitely recommend the place. The day ticket pegs have changed though since we were there. Each day ticket peg has now been replaced with a carp cabin. The cabins each have their own private swim and can accommodate 2 people. One of those being a guest and one of those being an angler, with room for 3 rods. The cabins have a double bed, TV, heating and a minibar. Booking is a minimum of 48 hours at a cost of £75 per 24 hours. So if the other half fancies a nice relaxing weekend away, it won't break the bank for the pair of you and you can also get some fishing done. Right then, on our next travels, I met up again with the Merrington lads. This time we went to a little favourite lake of mine near Shrewsbury. The lake has 5 pegs, one being a double, and can accommodate 6 anglers in total. There's a nice stock of carp present going up to £46. We booked on a game as a lake exclusive, so this time we decided to take the kids along too. Enjoy. So this is the view from peg 5, my peg. This is the peg I fished last time I was here. I've drew it out of a hat, so it looks like I'm back in here. There's Ewan, fishing with his dad and my son Jake, and peg 1, the double peg.
Hello.
There's Alex.
Back in Carp Catch TV.
How are you?
Yeah.
Nice one. So, nice little peg 5. I'm hitting the reed line over the back there. I've seen a few shows already since I've been here. Nobody fished this peg last night for the last 24 hours, and as soon as we got here you could see it bubbling up, and it was churning the water up as well, so it was changing colour. So I'm just going to hit the reed line there. Right, walking next to me is peg 4. This is the peg that Peng's in. Let's go and see what he's up to. Hey in, pal.
How are you? You alright?
Not bad.
Yeah.
How you getting on?
Yeah, quiet at the moment.
Was it a nice setup?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, nicer than mine.
Yeah, hell yeah. Hell yeah. I've got quite happy with the swim I do. It's quite promising. I wish the wind was coming in more than that way, but you know, trying something different on the dumbbells.
You've got plenty of water to go here, haven't you?
Yeah, loads of water. Really.
Where are you fishing?
I've got one to the end of the island there with that moor end right on it. Got one over to by that tree against the reed. I am baiting up there in the corner by the tree for tonight. Give them a few freebies, hopefully get the confidence up. And I should have one out of there tonight, fingers crossed. Got the old XLNC dumbbells on the left rod. Smiles nice then, the cell. And I've got a bit of mixture in there on the dumbbells. That's your liver, krill and liver.
Plenty of bait, mate.
Plenty of bait, plenty of bait. Go big or go home.
It looks that way.
I've got.
Oh my god.
I've got like proper carpy that. Smell that, mate. You could eat that yourself. And like Pellets soaked in aniseed oil. You know, so yeah.
So this trip's cost you 200 quid so far?
Well, no, we're not shy, not quite shy of that, like, but yeah, no, looking forward to it, hopefully. You know, the work haven't had much luck this year, so hopefully the fishing gods will be shining down on me.
Happy days, mate. Right, this is peg 3, Platty's swim. Let's see what he's getting on with. You right, Platt?
I do, you okay?
Not bad, mate. What are you up to?
Making it bread.
Oh, nice. How was your setup?
Okay, alright.
Yeah.
A little bit of wind, it's not going to ease up, but
It was sunny when we got here, wasn't it?
yeah, it was. Yeah.
But look at that for a view, mate.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's tonight. It's going to be nice.
That is some view there. What's your spots?
So I had a chat with the guy who was here overnight last night. So he has put quite a bit of bait down the margins there, and it seems like bags are the way forward. So I'm going with the bag at 8 1/4 wraps, just about a metre off the margin there, and I've found a little spot 3/4 of the way out to the island, a little gravel bar there. So I've got another bag on that. So
Happy days, mate.
yeah, I've had one little drop back as well. The mic was over here, and that's on the left hand rod. So fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Tight line, does he say? Right, here's Mike's peg 2. See how he's getting on. How you doing, mate? You alright, mate?
I'm alright, you?
Yeah, not bad, mate. It just took me about 3 hours to set up, but you know.
No, you haven't got your lad together, haven't you?
Yeah, fair enough. Where are you fishing?
Well, 15 and a half wraps out just off the edge of the island, really.
Oh, nice.
So,
What bait are you using?
I'm on the heron baits at the moment. I've got Miltex down on the right hand side, and I've got my krill on the left hand rod. So,
You got the wind blowing into you here, haven't you?
yeah, it is quite windy over here. Compared to the other side, but
Have you fished this peg before?
no, first time.
First time, yeah. Where did you fish last time?
I was on the double peg last time.
Yeah.
So, to be honest with it being such a small water, I don't think it really matters where you are at this place.
No, I think you're right there, to be fair. I'm not too fussed what peg I landed, to be honest. As we had booked on as a lake exclusive, bait boats were allowed to be used again. But in all honesty, you really don't need them here, as every spot is castable. I'm only using a bait boat, as it's a lot more stealthier putting your bait out compared to using a spom. Right, this is peg 1, the double peg. John and family. How you doing, mate?
Alright, you?
Yeah, not bad. How was your setup?
Good, all good.
Yeah.
Not seeing much surface or showing, but fingers crossed we'll get something.
Where you fishing, mate?
Got one in the margin, quite close in, and then one just off the island, about a rod and a half off the island.
Happy days. How do you feel about Jake fishing next year?
It's not too bad.
I'm sure he'll look after you.
He's giving me some good tips.
Oh yeah. Do you think you want to get a PB in this trip?
I hope so, yeah.
Yeah, me too. Right, Alex, we've been wearing everyone else's peg, mate. It's time for us to have a little bit to eat, yeah?
Yep.
Happy days. After doing the rounds, the action started and Jake was in. So Jake's first carp of the trip was in the nets. A nice 16-pound mirror fall into a sticky manila dumbbell, fished over a bed of tiger nut flavoured pellet, corn and hemp. So this was my third time fishing Earl's View. The first time I fished with Blunder and Callum, and it was actually one of the first places that I did a YouTube video. The second time I brought the wife and kids and I fished the double peg. Both times we managed to get into the fish, so I was feeling quite confident of getting a bite or two. The biggest fish in the lake is called Big Earl. The first time we fished it, he was 36 pounds. 3 years later, he's a whopping 46 pounds. The strange thing is though, Big Earl didn't get caught for 18 months, with people starting to think that he had died. But he hadn't died, and he ended up getting caught twice in 1 week, having gained a lot of weight in the meantime. So it goes to show that big carp can be very wise to your rigs and just go around eating all the freebies. With Jake catching a carp so early on, everyone was feeling optimistic about catching a few this weekend. The afternoon went by and the sun started to break through the clouds. With the takeaway ordered, it was time to sit back and enjoy an epic Earls View sunset. You happy with dinner, mate?
Yeah.
What you had?
Just some chicken and chips.
Chicken nuggets?
Yeah.
What kid does not like chicken nuggets? There you go, mate. When you get a bit older, get a chicken kebab. Look at that one. So unfortunately that's the end of the first day, and just the one fish so far from Jake. You know, it's looked quite promising for another bite, but just hasn't happened. Everyone's settled into the swims now. They've all got their areas that they hope are going to produce, so everyone's baited up ready, and we're quite hopeful that something might happen in the night and early morning. The wind has died down now and the lake's gone really calm. It's like a little mill pond. So hopefully something might happen in the night, and if it does, I'll let you know. Well, it was Jake's turn again to catch, and another nice mirror carp was his reward. As the sun started to rise, we were greeted by a lovely summer's morning. The lake was still very calm, and the water was like looking into a mirror. Right then guys, it's Saturday morning now, and a bit quiet for me last night, and mostly everyone around the lake apart from Jake. Jake had one about 11 o'clock I think it was, so it was an 18 pounder. Same spot underneath that tree by the island, and then he's had another one this morning which was 20 pounds, but Jake was asleep and John heard Jake's rod go, so he struck it, he played the fish, and then Yuan helped net the fish and unhook it, so it's like a shared fish. So the double peg is producing 3 fish so far, so it's doing well. What we're going to do, have a bit of breakfast now, cooking up some sausages, and Wolves are playing at 12:30, playing Tottenham, and so we're going to walk down to the pub, down the road, and have a few pints, watch the match, rest our swims, come back, have another crack at it like. But we've still got time until then to get a bend in the rod, so I'm going to get into these sausages now and get some food down us. So me and the kids set off on a nice walk to the pub. The sun was shining and it felt good to be out in the English countryside. After a good start to the game, Wolves went and lost 1-0, so it was time to head back to the lake. Meanwhile, on the double peg, John had caught another one. This time it was a nice mirror carp. Just as we got back to the lake, John's rod went again. So it was Ewan's turn to play the fish and get into the action. After a flurry of action, the fishing went quiet again and the bites dropped off. The afternoon turned to evening and we were lucky enough to witness another beautiful sunset. There was something very magical about the lake tonight, and even though most of us were blanking, we didn't care, as it still felt great to spend the night in this amazing location. Just before dark, Mike had a slow take on his right-hand rod. Unfortunately though, he had been done this time. That is fizzing all over my spot. All over the area, and there's bubbles coming up everywhere. They're definitely feeding down there. More fizzing over there. And they're clouding the water up over there. I've not got a rig over there though, because there's a lot of roots going into the water. You'd think he's just moments away from a run. But then again, fish are wise. They might choose which bait to eat and which not to eat. Even so, it's a good sign that it's fizzing. Gives you that little bit of hope. Right, I'm going to go back to my rods now. Well, it was our last morning, and at last my rod was away. Alex was fishing a my peg, so he played the fish into the net.
Go on, you got it. That's a one, mate. That's
Well
a
done,
one.
mate. About 15 pounds that. Is that a PB, Alex?
I'm not sure.
Get that bucket of water then.
Gives that. It's a PB. Hey. Well done, Alex.
Well done, mate.
5 minutes later, Platty was also into one. The lake had definitely woken up with the carp feeding on multiple spots around the lake. After a short battle, Platty had a nice mirror in the net. He caught the fish using a solid bag cast to the right-hand margin. Right then, that's the end of our trip. We've got about an hour left. Everyone's started packing up now. And it's been a good trip. We've had 7 fish between us. All similar sort of size really, between 14 and 20 pounds. We haven't got into any of the big ones, but you know, we've still got a little bit of time left. You know, the rod's always coming at the end. But you know, Earls View, great place. Stunning little venue, great for a social, and we'll probably be back again soon in the future. So look out for that. Well, it's never over till it's over. Mike had packed away almost all of his gear, apart from just the rods. And it looks like this time luck was on his side, managing to catch with only minutes left to spare. Nice. It's a blank saver.
I'd said to Ewan, there's nothing better than having no alarms on or anything and just sitting there watching your rod tips. She's certainly lively.
Play it along the mic to get tired.
A couple of months later, Mike, Platty and Matty had another trip to Earl's View. This time Matty caught one of the bigger fish, a lovely 31 pounder and a new PB. Well done, son. And that's it for another video. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.